All right, everybody, welcome to episode 69 of Talking Taker. You can check the Tizime because we are here for our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all Tizime. My name is Alex Dorio. I'm one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, for this round of Dead Man Talking by my best friend, my wrestling buddy, my tag team partner, Mr. Travis White. And Travis, for this episode, to quote the great He-Man himself, or to paraphrase him, if you will, tonight, we have the power.
Yes, we do. Anytime we can cross over He-Man with Undertaker, I'm good, because that was another one of my heroes as a child, so... Oh man, I used to have the giant Castle Grayskull.
Ooh.
And Eternia, or what's it called? Yeah,
Eternia.
No, Skeletor is one called. Anyway, I had both
that was
of
Castle
those.
Grayskull.
No, anyway, whatever. I had both. I had He-Man's and I had it's late. I had He-Man's and I had what's his name? So Skeletor's, and my mom sold him in a yard sale, and I've never let her forget it.
No, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you should talk to Zack Ryder or Kurt Hawkins, see if they can dig him up for you.
Probably could. Yeah, you guys check their podcasts out. Oh, you creatures of the night. They're funny. They're good. It's interesting, to say the least.
I have
They're
enjoyed
mega
it.
nerds.
Yeah, the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. It has brought up a lot of memories. We've discussed it. We were both pretty big wrestling figure nerds up until a certain age. Not quite as old as they were when they came out.
Ryder was like in college playing with him.
I remember. Oh, we can talk about that.
Freshman in high school.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a later episode probably. But there's too much to talk about here to wasting time talking about action figures, because we are covering King of the Ring 1999 on this week's episode of Talking Taker. We're going to be covering The Undertaker taking on The Rock for the WWF Championship, defending his newly won title that he got on our last episode at Over the Edge 1999. But more importantly, as I alluded to in the opening, tonight we're going to discuss the ever memorable, highly controversial, hilarious, impactful debut and revelation of the greater power, the higher power, however you want to say it, the giant revelation that took place on Raw. They did not know. And they did not know who it was going to be. And so many things to talk about there, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So strap in, folks. Grab a cup of coffee. I've got mine. Do whatever you got to do. It's going to be a doozy here, folks, as we take the time traveling hearse back to May of 1999 as we get this one started. Like I said, we left you off last week with Over the Edge 1999. Of course, what everyone remembers that show for, rightfully so, was the untimely passing of Owen Hart. But the show did go on. I argued that perhaps it should not have on last week's episode, but it did anyway, and The Undertaker was able to win the WWF Championship for the third time. But that's obviously not the main focus of that show, so it's not even mentioned on the next night's episode of Raw, nor should it have been. You know, that was of course, the classic Raw is Owen tribute show, and probably wisely enough, Undertaker is not involved in this show at all, really. I believe he's not even on the stage for the 10-bell salute of Owen Hart, although Paul Bearer is, but I believe The Undertaker stayed in the back.
Yeah, I think that was smart, just from his character standpoint, plus, which he does that stuff nowadays too. He won't come out for that kind of stuff, or he's never at the Hall of Fame, nowadays either. So I think it was smart just from that, and just also, like you mentioned last week, he's like this cult leader, demon. They call him literally the Dead Man. Like, you don't want to bring any of those names up. Reaper of Souls and Walks with Angels. She Talks to Angels. All this stuff. You don't want to put him on there. So on Raw is Owen. The only thing he's involved in is that they have like some of the still picture recaps of the match the night before. That's it. But no storyline progression, thank God. Just some talking head tributes segments to Owen. If you've never seen an episode and you want to cry, go ahead and watch it. Check out Jeff Jarrett's section. But if not, we'll move on to brighter pastures here.
Yeah, very emotional show, of course, but the machine keeps on rolling. The
Yep.
WWF keeps on going. There are no off seasons, there are no breaks, and the storylines are going to progress here. So I do believe, though, I think as we go on through this, it's clear that things do change. I mean, obviously, they weren't
Sure.
planning on having an entire episode of Raw in this build up to King of the Ring overtaken by a tribute show. So some storylines are going to get meshed together. Some plans are going to change. I'm not sure exactly how these revelations and this build was all originally laid out, but it does kind of get jumbled together here. But anyway, we'll talk about it more as we go on. But on Heat, May 30th, 1999, that is where we get the first progression of anything since Over the Edge. And the King of the Ring tournament begins here. Quite the lineup.
Dude, let me just let you guys in on this tournament. This is probably one of the most underwhelming King of the Ring tournaments in history. You got Billy Gunn versus Viscera, Shamrock versus Jeff Jarrett, Big Show versus Draws, Test versus Kane, Road Dogg versus Godfather, China versus Val Venus, Al Snow versus Hardcore Holly, and Bossman versus X-Pac. Oh my word, man. I just don't know. That just underwhelms me. But anyway, luckily it has nothing to do with Taker. We don't have to dig deep into that. But
is there one match that you could get excited for in that lineup?
Yes, and the only one would be what the finals weren't. It should have been Billy Gunn versus Road Dogg.
Oh, yeah.
At the pay-per-view.
Right.
But it was Billy Gunn versus X-Pac instead. Like, that was your one shot to get the New Age Outlaws in there against each other, and you blew it. So
you gotta swerve them, bro.
I step aside. Let's move on. Exactly, bro. Gotta swerve, bro. So
yes, let's move on.
That happened.
What we're talking about here is Stone Cold and The Undertaker. Austin's going to close the show with a promo. He's going to, do his typical Austin stuff, call Shane and Taker SOBs for what happened at Over the Edge. He claims that Undertaker is, chicken salad, if you will, and is not going to give him a rematch for the WWF Championship. But
why
Austin,
did they bleep out salad?
I don't know. That was weird.
Just kidding. Anyway.
Undertaker is going to interrupt, though, from the video screen. He quotes the police here, which was interesting. He says that every step Austin makes, every breath he takes, he feels.
I see everything. I see every step you take. I feel every breath you take.
Quite poetic.
Maybe he's just a big Puff Daddy fan. Maybe they did that. The kind of rip off after the Joyce P.I.G. died. Maybe that was maybe he's a big Puff Daddy. He is a Post Malone fan nowadays. So,
that's true. Undertaker loves hip hop, rap rock, all that sort of stuff. Taker maybe doesn't have the best musical taste from what we've seen. But the big deal here is that Undertaker says tomorrow night he will finally present Stone Cold as a sacrifice to the greater power, and that the greater power will become Austin's Lord and Savior and guiding light. Yeah,
and may he have mercy on your wretched soul, he says. Then he laughs maniacally, the evil laugh, the evil villain laugh. All he needs is a pet cat in his hand to pet.
Exactly.
Austin responds saying that you could have my mind, my broken body, but you can't have my soul or my beer. And I'm going to put a boot up your backside and drink beer all night long. So that's how he chooses to end this show, which I believe was taped the Tuesday, like 2 days after Owen's death. Like they usually tape Heat on Tuesday. So it's kind of, it's only been 2 days and they're getting back in the swing of things. But yeah, like you said, some stuff has been pushed back because they had to basically skip a whole episode of Raw. And so they're going to speed things up here as we get into this next episode of Raw. 314.
Dude, that quote from Austin sounds like that could be a country song right there.
Yeah, well, it sounds a little Toby Keith.
A little bit. So like you said, this is 314, May 31st, 1999. And despite what Undertaker says, this is not going to be the episode where we find out who the higher power is, but it is apparently the episode where Stone Cold is going to find out who he is here. So the Druids are going to return, make their welcome return.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm always happy to see them. So they come out. The Druids, these are a little bit better than the normal ones we get from Druids
so.
R Us. Yeah, they come out carrying the big old Undertaker symbol, coming out with the corporate ministry. Bear is holding that title in his hands. He's got something to wrap his little fat hot dog fingers around. Now he's holding that title for Taker. So, yeah, commentary keeps putting over how Taker's going to sacrifice Austin to the greater power or higher power, whatever they're going to call it. So, King immediately says, I think it's Shane McMahon, so which cues you in that it's not going to be Shane. So
exactly,
it's a dead giveaway. So, yeah. And then Shane goes on and he gloats about Taker winning the title. And like I said, Bear, he's got something to do with his hands now. He's not like Ricky Bobby. He's either holding the title or he's holding the microphone for Taker. So Taker gets on the stick and says, Austin, whether you want to accept it or not, the fact is I beat you up all over Kansas City. I'm the champion and you can't do anything about it. See, that was phase 1 and phase 2 now begins. And he basically just recaps the same promo he had the night before. So,
man, I'm excited. I love phase 10. That's one of my favorite card games. So I'm glad we're starting to play that here through Undertaker's promo.
Yeah, we only got 8 more phases to go.
That's right. That's all we got. Dude, I will say, too, this is a taped show, obviously, but Shane McMahon gets nuclear heat on this show and through a lot of these shows, man. He's getting the a-hole chants, just drowning him out constantly. It's crazy, big time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to contrast that, Vince comes out next to a pop, like a really good pop. And I don't know if it was sweetened in post-production or what, but like, according to Bruce Pritchard, they never did that. His podcast is baloney, dude. You can watch some of the SmackDowns and see, like, golly, man, you can tell the SmackDowns in the mid-2000s, they definitely sweetened the sound. But anyway, Vince comes out to a really good babyface pop at this point, I mean, it's not Austin Rock levels, but still.
Yeah, solid.
He's, And he says, Taker and Shane, I hope you enjoy your moment of basking in glory. That's all it's going to be. It's just a quick moment. So he says that Taker screwed Austin for the title, and he's going to screw Taker, which gets a huge pop as well. The crowd responds to that. They love the fact of Taker getting screwed out of the title.
So to screw over Undertaker, Vince is going to have Stone Cold take on Undertaker for the WWF Championship tonight in the main event. And it is not that match that you guys are probably thinking about there. It's not the famous match that they had on Raw, but it's going to be a fun one here. So we're going to get to that one on next week's episode of the show, the highest rated wrestling match in television history. This is not that one, but hang tight. We'll get there. So Shane here doesn't want Undertaker to defend the title. Since he's the half owner of the company, he says he's not going to allow Undertaker to put the title on the line against Stone Cold. Vince says that's fine. Stone Cold will beat him up anyway.
So Vince tells Taker it's going to be him versus them versus each other tonight. And then Shane says if Vince wins, then the Austin match will then be for the title. So basically Taker's going to have 2 matches tonight. If anybody in the back, like Austin or the Union members, interfere in that match, then Austin's going to lose his title shot later on in the night. So, and also another thing is if Vince doesn't defeat Taker tonight, Austin will never, ever, ever, ever get another WWF title shot. So
you gotta have a notepad to keep track of all the stipulations that are going on.
Yeah, well, clearly, we just got lost.
Yeah,
you and I both just got lost.
I had a notepad and I can't even keep track of all of it. But
that's not all though that happens here.
That's not all that happens here. Stone Cold. Hope he was paying attention and listening because he happened to be right there. Because as the corporate ministry are leaving and walking up the ramp, all of a sudden the glass shatters. One of the Druids takes his hood off, and it's Stone Cold right there. He was there all along. He starts attacking the corporate ministry, but this quickly proves to be a foolish plan as he gets swarmed by 10 different guys. But thankfully the Union is in the back. They paid their union dues and are here tonight. Come out to make the save, and we get a big old giant Attitude Era brawl to start the show off.
Yeah, man, it's fun. Fun way to start a show. Definitely hooks you in to see what's going to happen later on. Get some stakes for the matches. Even though it's convoluted and you have to follow along and circle back around and take a left and take 3 lefts to go right. It's just like it's still, it makes you, as a viewer back in '99, it makes you want to stay tuned, So the funny segment is right after this backstage. Austin's basically yelling at the Union, and he just shoves Test right on his butt.
Yeah. What's that all about?
He knocks the second biggest guy in the Union over on his backside. Oh, it was great.
We also see backstage Vince telling Pat and Gerald to stay out of his match with The Undertaker, that he wants to go it alone. And unfortunately, we also see backstage the debut of Hairy Beaver Cleavage.
Good heavens, brother.
Good Lord.
Cover your drinks. So, that's not good. Yeah, thank God this is short-lived. I think it dies out. This dies out by the time we get to King of the Ring, doesn't it? The
I believe that's right, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it does, yeah. So, yeah, we get the debut of that, so it doesn't last very long. So, so we see, like you said, we get Vince getting pumped for his match later on, and then for the match with Vince and Taker. So Taker and Paul Bearer come out first, which I just thought was weird. I would have been more intimidating to have Vince in the ring, I guess, and then see Taker walk out. But whatever, it is what it is. But I guess it does make sense because what's about to happen. So basically, Taker's in the ring, and then Vince comes out. I don't think he has any music here though, because he's still, not with anybody, but he just runs in the ring and dives, and Taker just absolutely beats him up. And I thought, like, man, he did it with Vince. I was like, don't tear your quads, because that's how he's done it before.
Well, dude, he made a beeline. Vince made a beeline into that ring as if it were Dennis Knight in there that he wanted to go after. That's who he was envisioning as he was going after Undertaker. But yeah, like you said, Undertaker just absolutely dominates him. We see Stone Cold watching the action backstage on that iPad mini screen, basically. But
so tiny.
While the referee gets distracted by Paul Bearer, Vince goes for the great equalizer, the old Death Valley blow.
Yeah, man.
But Undertaker continues to overpower Vince, and I will say we haven't seen a ton of Vince McMahon wrestling. He has had a couple matches up to this point, but he's doing a great job of selling here. I mean, he's just as he should be. He's a 50-year-old man getting beat up by the world champion. He's not a wrestler. He should act like he's getting the crap beat out of him, and he does. He does a great job of it.
Yeah, he's probably, 53, 54 here? So, yeah, he definitely should act like this. So, yeah, he does a good job selling. So, and then I think Undertaker kind of tosses the ref aside twice as he's choking Vince. And, of course, that leads to a disqualification because it's the Attitude Era. Who needs clean wins? So we got DQ, which means
that was Vince's plan. He told the Stooges not to interfere. He's willing to be beaten down by Undertaker and outsmart the Undertaker to get that win over him. Technically, get the win so that Austin can get the title shot tonight.
Psychology-wise, definitely made sense. So, but yeah. So then after that, we got good job of them building up Austin and Taker throughout the night, kind of showing clips of them getting prepped backstage. And Austin tells Michael Cole that he doesn't need any help from anybody to defeat Taker. He can do it by himself. So then we get another wonderful, beautiful debut of something else that's short-lived and has no payoff.
The debut, I believe, on this show of GDTV, which would eventually become GTV, these behind-the-scenes surveillance camera clips. And what's the first one that we get to see? Mark Henry taking a massive dumpski backstage.
What you doing? Pooping.
There you go.
That's all I could think about.
There you go.
It's Gary and Mike. So
set you up for that one.
Yeah, you did. So absolutely.
Why didn't they show this in Mark Henry's Hall of Fame video package, man? Historic moment.
Oh, it's PG now, man. PG. So.
True.
This is called GD TV.
That's right.
But did you think it was Gold Dust? I mean, come on. They changed it to, I forgot it was GD TV the first week.
Yeah, first week.
Then they changed it to GTV. So, yeah. But I do want to mention this too. That's a little aside, just kind of an adjacent storyline to the Undertaker. The Acolytes win the tag team titles from X-Pac and Kane on this episode because Shane helps him out with a chair. So, got some new gold in the Corbin Ministry. They got the world title or WWF title and the tag titles now. So, good on.
That's right, and they're going to get some more gold as this build-up continues along too. So we'll talk about that.
Absolutely, they are.
All right, the main event of this show is the main event of our pay-per-view from a couple weeks ago. Undertaker and Stone Cold fighting again. Undertaker comes out. He's wearing the Smoking Skull belt, and Austin ends up going right after Undertaker, just with a purpose, man. He goes crazy on him. And honestly, I thought watching this might have been Taker and Austin's best match since the 97 pay-per-view, Cold Day in Hell pay-per-view. And it wasn't that long, but they just had a sense of urgency here on this episode of Raw that I just felt like we haven't seen on these other pay-per-views. And the crowd is hot and invested into it, and it's definitely better than the last couple times we've seen them on pay-per-view, in my opinion.
Earlier this year, or maybe in '98, I remember they had a match on Raw last set. I remember just because it's a TV match, it's faster paced, there's a sense of urgency. So same thing here. Like, it's just really cool and very aggressive start, and just brawling, typical them match, but like I said, a lot more faster paced. And getting toward the end there, we get Taker signaling for a tombstone. Austin reverses it, kicks to the gut, stunner, and then when he hits that stunner, dude, that crowd blows the roof off because they know he's about to win. It was perfect, like psychology.
And unfortunately, that's not going to do it because Paul Bearer pulls the ref out of the ring, that weaselly little lardo, and in comes the boss man, who eats a big old stunner from Stone Cold. The rest of the corporate ministry come in to beat down Austin, and the ref finally rings the bell for the disqualification. And that's all leading to Austin getting tied up in the ropes as the Undertaker busts out his Shakespeare pose for the first time we've seen in a long, long time. Yeah,
he does, and goes down on that one knee, and blue lights or purple lights, whatever, depending on your contrasts on your laptop or TV, blue, whatever, or your color blindness. They come on, and you get that, the Gregorian chanting or whatever, that Latin chanting comes out, and you got this cloaked figure. I guess it's like a maroon colored robe at this point. Comes down, and of course commentary is, who is it? And King knows it's Shane. So again, that's a dead ringer for don't listen to me. Anytime they know it's somebody, it's definitely not them. So, which apparently backstage they had no idea who was going to be either. So we'll get into that as we tackle next week's Raw. So yeah, so all the corporate ministry is on one knee except for Hunter and Boss Man, who were holding Austin in the ropes. So this is the greater power, or the higher power. So he comes over and kind of gets down in Austin's face and reveals his face to him, and Austin looks up in disbelief and is angry and calls him an SOB, and we go off the air that way. So we don't get to see who he is, but Austin gets to see who it is. So wouldn't he have just yelled the person's name right then?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm just kidding. But it's episodic television. Makes you tune in for next week. See
it's a good
who the heck
tease.
Was that,
Yeah,
so it's a good little tease.
They're going to tease it out some more on Heat a few days later on June 6th. And really, that's, Austin did see who it is, but he's not going to say who it is. That's the gist of all this on Heat. He hands out stunners like they're going out of style to everybody backstage, everybody in the ring. He's just enraged over finding out who the greater power is. But he basically tells our old buddy Lucas that since the greater power isn't in the building tonight, it doesn't matter who he is, and he'll get to him tomorrow night on Raw.
Yep.
AKA, they still haven't figured out who it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know who it is yet, so we'll tell you on Mondays. Yeah, he stuns everybody inside. He even stuns Sergeant Slaughter twice. I love it. He gets him twice in the main event. Even throws Tony Chimel in the ring as we go off the air, so I didn't get to see if he stunned him or not. So they don't have that extra attitude for Heat on the network. But anyway, it's a fun, just a little storyline there. It's always fun seeing Austin hand out stunners like they're going out of business. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. So he's giving like a 10-for-1 special, stunning folks left and right. So this brings us to the greater power reveal. This is Raw 315 on June 7th, 1999. This is the one we've been building toward for, 4 months now, right? Since like February?
Yeah, you could say even longer, since the Ministry of Darkness seeds were planted that night after Judgment Day in 1998.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all what all of this has been building up to. And this is, of course, one of the most famous, one of the most historic moments in Monday Night Raw history, maybe even in WWF history. It's what we're really here for. We're going to get to the match, and of course, that's always the main event of our shows, but this is what we definitely want to talk about the most here today.
Yeah.
And just to take it back to trying to remember where we were back then in 1999. I was definitely online reading all the wrestling rumors back at this time. And obviously with a great mystery like this, the internet was running wild with speculation. I remember the common rumor back then was Ted DiBiase being the possibility for being the greater power. He's the almighty dollar, perhaps, was the one controlling the Ministry of Darkness. I don't know what his contract situation with WCW at the time was, but a lot of people were speculating it might be him. Vince McMahon notes in his promo in a little bit that maybe it was going to be Jake the Snake. So I believe that was rumored back then. That could have been kind of cool. Someone else.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
Yeah. Someone jumping over from WCW or ECW was obviously a very popular theory. Mm-hmm. And then we end up getting, of all people, Vince McMahon being the guy behind the curtain, man. It's quite the segment. It was not what I was hoping for back then, certainly.
No, absolutely. Like if you look at it in like just a bubble, it was a really fun. Episode is really fun. I'm ready to like break it down. It's kind of fun to go through and watch it again, because I remember at the time I was excited for this. The anticipation was fun. The reveal was like, oh, okay, like that's fun. I can go. But then when you take a step back and you examine it, you can drive a semi through the plot holes here. So we'll break that down in just
a minute. We're going to.
Yeah. So I remember like just being, like I said, in a bubble. It was like a fun like what do they call them? Bottle episodes of like TV shows. Like it's fun, but in the greater scheme of things, it's like, man, like literally I could drive a Rusev tank through the plot holes in the storyline. So,
yeah, if you just watch it in isolation, just that one segment, the way that Vince sells it, the way he reveals it, his line delivery, it's fantastic. It's perfect. It's great as a YouTube video clip.
Sure.
But as the revelation to this months-long storyline, it to me, it's the laziest possible revelation, the most head-scratching, frustrating possible revelation to all of this stuff that we've been so invested in. So let's talk about how it went down.
Well, absolutely. And like, even though, kind of knowing from what we've talked about or we've heard on other people's podcasts, on I know Pritchard's show and stuff, he said that Christopher Daniels was supposed to have been this at one point.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I can't remember if he was in developmental or he just kind of like a local talent that was used a lot, but apparently they had him penciled in, and then Vince saw him and was like, forget that. Just wasn't impressed. I mean, imagine what could have been with that.
How
like
crazy
that
would
fallen
that have
angel
been?
Character.
Yeah,
it would have put him on the friggin' map.
Yeah, and
then like B, it would have been like out of nowhere, but like you were always excited for somebody new to debut or somebody to jump ship, even if you had no idea who they were. Like, nobody cared about Harry Cleavage or whatever his name was, but like it was cool to see as like a new character, and like and even the undercard guys on WCW, like Lenny Lane, like it was just cool to see new guys, like all the time, new guys getting pushes. So that was fun. I think it would have been what a missed opportunity, man, to have Christopher Daniels be that.
And like you just said, that was at one point the plan, and that just goes to show you that there wasn't really a real plan of how all of this was going to come about, of who this mystery greater power was going to be revealed. You can't go back and say it was always going to be Vince McMahon all along. This was something they scrambled with. I guarantee you they were looking for some big surprise, for some big name to come through, and they just couldn't make it happen. They couldn't get anything satisfactory, so it ends up being what we get. And we're gonna have more to say as we tell you exactly how it happened here. The show starts off with Vince McMahon coming out. He comes out in his classic wrestling gear, the black tank top, the black jeans, and says he wants to find out who the greater power is. It's been 3 months that we've been hearing about it. If this greater power truly is more evil than the Undertaker, then he wants to meet him.
Sorry, I just read over the notes that said genetic jackhammer. So, he's ripped it. It said, Yeah, he wants to know who he is because this guy's been weaving a web this entire time, and he says if he's, like you said, more evil, I got to meet him. And some people speculate it's HBK. Somebody speculates it's the McMahon member. It's Jake the Snake, the bartender at the end of the block. He says,
"What does
it could
that
be
mean?
anybody."
I didn't understand that reference.
I don't know. I don't know, man. So he says he believes it's a McMahon member, so he challenges Shane to a no-holds-barred match tonight because he says, I'm going to put some stakes on this match. We're going to give up both of our 50% ownership, and it's a winner-takes-all match tonight. So Shane accepts the challenge and says he is definitely not the greater power or higher power, whatever. They switch back and forth, and
he says Taker's going to bring interchangeably.
Yeah. He says Taker's going to bring him out in a minute and reveal him, and so that's how we go. So Vince heads to the back to wait around what's going to happen next. So
meanwhile, Stone Cold is backstage talking to someone in a limousine. Remember that. We'll come back to it later. As the corporate ministry make their way out, Shane McMahon is conspicuous by his absence, and Paul Bearer is now holding the Blue Eagle WWF Championship, no longer the Smoking Skull belt. We've gone back to the title that was debuted the night after WrestleMania 14. So Undertaker has gotten that one back.
Yeah, which is good to see because it was kind of weird having him wear the Smoking Skull belt. So
yeah, he couldn't keep that going.
After the break, like you said, they come out and basically Taker's saying, for months I've prophesied about this power greater than the Lord of Darkness, assembled my army for his arrival. The ministry and the corporation laid the groundwork, so non-believers prepare for the day of reckoning because it's at hand. All of us know it must become apparent to you that he has now arrived. So without further ado, I present to you the higher power. So again, they can't even get this freaking name right. It's higher power, greater power. So we got that chanting. You got the cloaked figure coming out, and all the corporate ministry kneel in the ring except for Taker. So.
Yeah, the JR says that we first heard The Undertaker mention the greater power about 3 months ago, which is pretty close. It was really about 4 months ago, back in February, but close enough. We'll give it to him. And like you said on the last episode of Raw, the announcers are just speculating that it's got to be Shane McMahon. It must be Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Which gives away that it's not Shane McMahon, and that honestly would have been an even bigger letdown than Vince to have a guy. The guy that's right next to Undertaker the whole time. Why would they do this whole big process to reveal that he's the greater power?
Exactly. Bit a bit lame.
The cloaked figure grabs a microphone from The Undertaker when we hear Shane's voice coming out saying, I told you I was not the greater power, but you refused to believe me. And Shane makes his way out from the back at this point. Says the greater power is omniscient, cold, calculated, a mastermind at screwing with people's minds, a master planner, a master on human psychology. He knows our fears and our strengths and our weaknesses and exploits them. And Shane says he needs one more witness before he reveals the greater power and calls out his father.
Yeah, and you get Vince on the Titantron here saying, I'm close enough by being backstage, and he demands that the greater power show his face right this second. And the figure needs to reveal himself right now. And so we get that. We get the greater power. Pulls his hood back to, like we said, reveal Vince himself. And he's got that grin on his face. I mean, it's a classic, meme or all online.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin! Damn, I cannot believe it. You all bought it! You all bought it! Hook, line, and sinker! You all bought it! They did! Even my family! Even my immediate family bought it!
It's good Vince stuff, man. Like right there.
You can't forget JR acting. Immediately after. It's me, Austin. Oh, son of a.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it right there. Yeah. Oh, man. One of JR's best lines right there. And then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Vince. I mean, his promo here, it is fantastic. I can't make any argument against that. Like you say, even my immediate family bought it. You all are fools. But And here's where it's going to all start to fall apart, though, is the logic in all of this. Vince is saying that he concocted this plan to fool Stone Cold Steve Austin, to teach him a lesson he would never forget, that there was no price he would not pay, no depth he would not stoop to make Stone Cold's life on Earth a complete, total, living hell. And basically, all of this entire plan is all to get the World Wrestling Federation Championship off of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This whole greater power plan.
So, yeah. So
let's go back.
Let's rewind the clock real quick. Let me nitpick.
Yeah.
So if Vince was the greater power all along, he did this to keep the title off Austin. Why would he have to go to these ridiculous lengths? Like, why? Because at the time of this started in the fall, The Rock was the champion, or even in the winter, he and Mankind had traded the championship back and forth. So The Rock was his corporate champion already, right?
Yeah, if you trace the greater power back all the way to the beginning of the Ministry of Darkness, which we have to believe would logically be the beginning, that would be when the title was vacant. There was no chance. The title was already off of Austin at that point.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, like you said, it's going to lead to The Rock becoming the champion, who was Vince's hand-picked corporate champion. He should be pretty happy with things at that point.
Yeah, the Deadly Games tournament. And then, so you're going to let Taker have the ministry, have him feud with your corporation, have him hang a member of your roster from the ceiling. It just doesn't make any sense, and like I said, it makes some good TV. It's interesting, it's fun, but man, like I said, we're just nailing these plot holes, man.
But not only that, Vince's plan to get even with Stone Cold, or to get him back, involves going back in February to start physically assaulting his daughter Stephanie, allowing Undertaker to send her disturbing pictures of himself, and allow all of this to happen in order to screw over Stone Cold Steve Austin, who wasn't even involved in anything involving the Ministry of Darkness until Backlash, until April.
Exactly.
All of that happened at WrestleMania and in February. None of that had anything to do with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it's all just supposed to be setting the table to draw him in somehow, all of this. And in the midst of all this, what was the finish at Backlash?
Backlash?
Yeah, what was the finish of that match?
Was that the Shane counting the pinfall?
No, with Austin versus Rock, where Vince helped Austin win.
Oh yeah. Vince helps him win. Yeah, absolutely.
Vince helps Austin retain the title as a part of his plot to get the title off of Austin.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, man. Golly. It's just been so frustrated to think about, man. Like, it's just so insulting to a viewer that's been following this as religiously as we had at the time. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't just a couple years ago Vince want to assert his power over someone, and he just went ahead and just screwed them over in a match?
Yeah, exactly. Bret Hart.
Hart. And then in kayfabe, he did it to Mankind too. Like, why not just do that with Austin? Why not just do a screw job? Why torture your daughter and your family for 3 months?
He did say there's nothing he wouldn't stoop to, no depth he would not stoop to. But you're right, it makes no sense. That's why you can tell they just put this together at the last second, as far as Vince being the actual greater power. So it is just out of control. And as we get into the next thing, because the segment's not even over yet. Yeah. So as we get into this, like, I just want to mention, like, you can tell they had to speed up crap, because this should have been the reveal at the end of an episode, probably, of Raw. And then what's going to happen next should have probably been the beginning of the next week's Raw or something. But they have to cram it all in here to this 1 week of Raw, and it's just you don't even get to let this sit in and sink in. That's like, right. Vince is the greater power. It's like, it's just boom, on to the next piece of the puzzle here, because. Yeah. Next,
guess what? This doesn't make any sense either.
you're Touche, my friend. Touche. So yeah, we got the greater power reveal. It's Vince again, and he does his due diligence. He thanks the corporate ministry. He thanks everyone, Taker, Helmsley, Bossman, Midian, China, and everyone else. So, but just then, Stephanie and Linda come out on the stage, and Stephanie's like, "How could you be so cruel to me?" She's a horrible actress.
Oh man.
At this point,
yeah. Brutal.
And so Vince is like, "It's just business. Got nothing to do with love." And so, which is horrifyingly rude as a dad to say to your daughter or your wife. And so Linda's like, yeah, well, let's talk business then. Vince is like, I love you. And she's like, yeah, but love has nothing to do with business, which gets a huge crowd pop, which is kind of neat to see that. And she says, Vince has been lying about owning 50% of the company. There's 4 of us McMahon, so we all own equal shares. He didn't start this by himself, build it by himself. We've all got 25%. So this morning, there was a meeting of the board of directors, and we made some changes. Dress code's going to be a little less formal. Cut-off jeans, which Austin never wore cut-off jeans. He just wore jorts. Yeah, he just wore jorts. Come on. So, yeah, profanity is now okay. Little drinking on the job is okay. So what all this means is earlier today, I stepped down as CEO, and I named a new CEO, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I will say, the crowd buys this and loves it so much, man. So good on them for that.
Absolutely.
But
and Stone Cold looks hilarious as he comes out in his Austin baseball jersey and a red power tie on. It's great. But what? What? Why?
So, well, here's my thing. I think because again the Owen Hart thing, they had to push things back. So I think on Heat when Austin. Okay, so I think that Austin, he found out last week on Raw, right? The greater powers Vince. I think in between that week and this week, we were supposed to have assumed, which wasn't laid out for us, that he spoke to Linda. Because that's why at the beginning of this episode of Raw, you see him talking to the white limousine. I assume there was some storyline left, left out in the air there that maybe he talked to her within this last week, and that's how they got this sorted out. But, they never spell that out for you, They don't bring that up or anything, but it makes sense to me.
Well, I am really glad that you caught that because I did not. I didn't put those two things together, and they didn't spell those things out. But that answers some of my questions for as how did Linda know and why did she call that meeting? That makes sense, and that would have been nice for them to actually lay that out there. It's there is one thing for subtlety, but also sometimes you need to explain your plot holes, and thank you for doing what they did not do.
Well, you're welcome. That's just me grasping at straws
No, that
and assuming
makes sense,
that's what
actually.
happened.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. But again, we talk about Vince not being subtle. This would have been a perfect time to not be subtle and just spell out, hey, even on commentary, to say, oh, that explains why Austin, he found out last week he went to Linda, and that's why we saw him at the beginning of the night. But they never mentioned that. But I'm trying to make it make sense.
It does. I mean, that part makes a little more sense now. So Stone Cold is the new CEO, and he says as the CEO, he's going to grant himself a WWF Championship rematch in the immediate future at a date to be determined later. Absolutely. But not at the next pay-per-view, because at the next pay-per-view, King of the Ring, he wants to face off against Vince and Shane in a handicap match and get some revenge. So then Austin gets his clipboard out, makes a bunch of matches for Raw tonight, and I will say, I love Stone Cold Steve Austin, God bless him, but him trying to be on script and go through all these matches, that's not his strong suit.
Oh, no.
He stumbles over some of his words and is kind of struggling in this promo, which is weird to see. Usually it's just great to see him off the cuff, ranting and raving, but him trying to get through all the matches on an episode of Raw is not his strong suit here.
Well, yeah, and you got to play to their strengths and, hide their weaknesses. And that's definitely, he's better just unhinged and unchained and let him go. So, yeah, but luckily we don't have to deal with much of that in the next couple of weeks. He just kind of gets it done. But he makes some matches. And I do love Vince's response when Austin challenges him to King of the Ring. He's like, you're on, pal. 2 McMahons can take on one Austin any day of the week. So I love the word pal. I use it in my everyday life nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
It's all thanks to Vince. So, but and one thing he does say is that the union members can have a match with anybody they want. And that'll come into play later on this episode. Again, we are still talking about this episode of Raw, and this has been over 30 minutes of actual Monday Night Raw airtime. Probably around 40 minutes with commercials, 30, 38, 40 minutes. So
with no wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. This has been no wrestling, just storyline advancement, payoffs to a month-long build. And again, the payoff is not as great as we kind of hoped. But again, you still got this 30 minutes of airtime. Like, you will never see that again. Never, ever. So
no, and it's...
Or if you do, people would crap on it. So
I'm not sure exactly, but I think that might be a record for the longest
Probably.
we've ever gone on a show without the beginning of a wrestling show without getting any wrestling as far as Monday Night Raw goes. It's got to be close, and it's really, it's the summation of something we've kind of been seeing ever since the whole Kane storyline started a couple years ago. It's that the main focus of the stories no longer really take place during matches. It takes place in segments like this. What the story told during a match is still important, but it's almost like it's no longer the main part of the story. It takes place in these big, long, drawn out interview segments. So we're going to see even more of them out here too. It's going to continue to happen, but it's a huge shift from when we started this podcast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. And speaking of interview segments, over on Monday Nitro this night, at the beginning, when Nitro was unopposed, Bischoff says, oh, yeah, over on Raw, you're going to find out the greater power, and his initials are VKM or something like that. So,
well, it's going to be exciting, no doubt about it. But, I do know for a fact we are going to have one heck of a Nitro here tonight. By the way, on the competition, the guy under the hood, I can't mention his name, but the initials are VM. Mick something or other. I hate to blow it for anybody, but that's it. That's all it is. I just keep rehashing that same old crap over and over again. But anyway,
I forgot that happened, but I was doing my research. I found that out, so I forgot that at the time. But yeah, he loved giving away spoilers, and that was a taped episode. Kind of weird that this big reveal was a taped episode, But again, it's just that timing was all off because of what happened with Owen,
And it's you're trying to bring down the juggernaut of the WWE at this point, WWF, and couldn't quite do it. Nothing could stop the momentum that the WWF had. But who could be stopped? His momentum was the Undertaker, because he is in the background of this entire segment. Man, the WWF champion, the focus of this podcast, he's just standing there. Once that greater power is revealed, and the focus is on Austin and McMahon. It has nothing to do with the champion. He's part of this, just lost in the crowd of this corporate ministry that he's supposed to be the leader of, and just not doing anything. Doesn't matter. It didn't even matter for him to be out there for this whole thing.
And this literally just popped in my head right now. So this is like when you got in the Phantom Menace, you got Darth Maul, who's the coolest part of the whole movie, and all of a sudden he gets cast aside at the end, and everyone's ticked because he's the coolest character in there, and everything kind of revolved around him. And then the storyline is about the old Palpatine Emperor and the Jedis. It's like, come on, man. He was the coolest. Now he's just kind of kicked to the background. Same thing here, man. You got the Emperor revealed basically as Vince McMahon, and his henchman is Austin, or excuse me, Taker, who's been doing his dirty work for months and months and months, and all of a sudden he just cast to the side. But he's the coolest character in the freaking ring is Undertaker, despite his eyebrow ring and his sacrificing people and sending questionable pictures to young girls and stuff. He's getting away from that a little bit. So.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So was this happening right at the same time as Phantom Menace? When did Phantom Menace come out?
It came out in May 99. It did. Came out in May of 99. Wow. That's not in our notes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, none of that was in our notes. Oh, look at that. See? We don't need notes like
Parallel
Austin.
Stories right here.
How about that? How about it?
Well, that does it for that, folks. We'd love to hear your input on the Greater Power reveal. Were you watching it back then? What did you think of it? What are some of the other plot holes that we missed? Can you try to make sense and try to piece all of this together? Let us know on social media at Talking Taker, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. We want to hear from you about that. Let's plug through some of this. That's the meat of this storyline, but we haven't even begun to talk about who the Undertaker's facing at King of the Ring.
Exactly.
You might think from the rest of this episode of Raw that it would be the Big Show. because, like you said, Travis, the Union are going to get free passes by Stone Cold to pick their opponent tonight, and Big Show's going to pick The Undertaker. If you'll remember from a previous episode, The Undertaker slugged Big Show with a baseball bat a couple weeks ago, and Big Show remembers, says, "You want to play hardball, Taker? Slugger, you're going to get your wish." And he's going to face Undertaker in a world title match tonight. And also, Shamrock's going to get a match with the greater power himself, Vince McMahon, in a Lion's Den match. So Shamrock was manipulated by Vince for all those months as well. So he remembers all that, and he's going to get a match with Vince. And Test's match is going to be a date with Stephanie McMahon. So here we go with that whole storyline.
Yeah, it's funny because Steph comes out and Test asks her out, and you see she's like, Vince and Shane won't like him dating a wrestler, and it's just funny to see them. They're like disgusted backstage, but in a hilarious bit of irony, enter Triple H in real life. So it's just so funny.
It came about because of them being put together in this storyline.
Yeah, so
worked themselves into a shoot.
Exactly, man. As Austin likes to say. So we get this cast match that I think Austin had made earlier when he was making matches, and it's Triple H against The Rock, and Triple H has his entire leg in a cast. Basically, it's so stupid.
Not a casket match, a cast match.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like fishing. They're not like fishing to see who can have the bigger cast or anything.
It's not the perfect cast.
Exactly. So this match is not much because Taker interferes and chokeslams The Rock. Then he tombstones him on a chair, and Big Show comes out for the save, and Taker retreats. So again, completely unprovoked, Taker interferes to take out The Rock. So we got to start a storyline somehow.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. Vince is actually able to defeat Ken Shamrock in the Lion's Den match because...
Can you repeat that?
Vince McMahon defeated Ken Shamrock in a Lion's Den match.
Okay.
He locked himself in the Lion's Den before Shamrock could get in, and then Jeff freaking Jarrett, of all people, knocked out Shamrock with a chair. Not a guitar, but a chair.
Nope.
To allow Vince to put the ankle lock on Shamrock to win via submission. And then the main event is Show and Taker for the title, which actually has a pretty cool, memorable spot in here as well. Yeah,
it does. I completely blocked this out of my mind. I forgot. I know this episode with the greater power reveal. I remember watching the first half hour like it was, like it was never going to be shown again. And I just remember all that, but I forgot the ending of this match. So, and apparently it wasn't that big a deal either because they're not going to sell it too well. So we get Show versus Taker, and Taker takes a page out of Chris Jericho's book and starts wrestling with a title around his waist, which I always appreciate. Jericho always did that on Nitro, so it was good. So Big Show basically starts to manhandle him during this match. He's getting some good, good heat on Taker, and Taker has to resort to using a chair, which I guess the ref doesn't see, and comes off the top rope, and Show catches him by the throat and then lifts him up just like he said he was going to do, and choke slams him through the ring.
Yeah, so, really cool spot.
Yeah.
It's probably the first time I believe we've ever seen anything like that in the WWF. Any kind of spot where they destroyed the ring like that. Obviously, done it a number of times nowadays with Brock Lesnar and then Mark Henry, Big Show, where they've collapsed the ring and done some other stuff like that. We've had people come up through the ring, but I don't think we've ever seen somebody go through the ring that way as well.
Right.
So pretty cool visual there.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it in ECW a couple times with Bam Bam and Taz and stuff. But yeah, no, you're right, man. The WWF has taken it, and, of course, they're a bigger stage anyway. So anything that any company does, and WWF does it, it's automatically going to be the first time it's ever been done. So it doesn't matter. So, it was really cool, man. But I guess the match is thrown out, and it's like, so Corporate Ministry comes out, and they get chokeslammed by Big Show, but Taker just hops up out of the hole and walks up the ramp. Like,
he no-sells it.
It's just, I don't know, man. It was disappointing to see that.
I don't know this. I didn't read anything about it, but it almost feels like, and especially the way the Big Show is going to be booked for the next few weeks, like there was some heat on Big Show or something. Like Taker didn't like something that happened in the match or something, because that doesn't seem like Taker either. It doesn't seem like he'd be somebody to just no-sells a big spot like that. like you can imagine if the roles were reversed, if somebody no-sold Undertaker, choke slamming them through the ring, how pissed he would be about something like that, how unprofessional that would seem. But it was just weird. You would think getting choke slammed through the ring, he would, stay under the ring for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But he just gets up and walks to the back, and I don't know, man. It was
weird.
Well,
I know Big Show's been on Austin's podcast several times, and every time they talk about how much he struggled when he came in, and he talks about how Austin used to just light him up at house shows and beat the crap out of him just to kind of teach him something. And he talks about Taker did the same thing. He said Taker took me under his wing and tried to teach me, and you got to chill out, boy, and you got to calm down. You got to, you're a big man, but you got to work like this and this. So I wonder if, like you said, I wonder if that has anything to it. If they actually had some heat here, because Show's still young, man.
Very
he's only,
young.
27 or something here. Like, he's a young kid still. So I don't know. Could be it, honestly.
It could be, and I don't know. It felt like to me we were really setting up for a Big Show Undertaker match at King of the Ring, but not quite. As we're gonna head in, there's nothing really on Heat the next Sunday.
Whoa!
What's that?
Yes, there is.
What's that?
There's the debut of Too Cool.
Oh, excuse me. There you go.
It is. It looks like a promo from beginner class at NXT. It is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, man. Yeah, moving on. But we do love Too Cool. We have a great spot in our heart for them.
We do.
But their debut was not setting the world on fire. So they do have a boombox though, so that's cool.
Oh, that is cool. Too cool.
There, thank you.
So how fitting is this, man? Next episode of Raw is on June 14th, 99. It's Raw episode 316, and how perfect that this is going to be littered all throughout the show with these skits of Stone Cold, his first day on the job as CEO at Titan Towers. Just a great coincidence that's on Raw episode 316.
It is. I just thought that was cool too. We both noted that. It's kind of funny, but man, I just got to say something real quick about Austin. Man, he is so freaking hilarious, man. This subtle humor he has, and these little vignettes, and him answering the phone, and the lady answering the phone the way he tells him how to. Like, it's just good. He's got such good like when he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's so funny, man. He's got even back because he really shined in 2001 with the Kurt Angle stuff, but like even back here, he's hilarious, man.
He's got like 3 of Vince's secretaries, and they all tell him what job they do, and he's like, why don't you go get me a beer? The first one, and the second one, he's like, why don't you go get me another beer? And the third one says, you want me to get you a beer? He says, no, it's probably too much for the morning. Why don't you get me a shot of Jameson?
Yeah. All these little things like that. It's just hilarious, man. So anyway, so of course we're going to open up this Raw properly after these vignettes, and of course Corbin Ministry has to make their way out to the ring.
Of course.
Again, Vince has just got nuclear heat here, man, and he goes on and saying that the 3 months of planning is supposed to be revealed last week, but now Austin came in as CEO and he ruined it.
He called it his Machiavellian plan.
He had like 11 L's in there.
One of his favorite words, and he couldn't say it.
Machiavellian. It sounds like a Star Wars planet. So anyway, he can't get that word out properly. So, but yeah, he's it was supposed to be revealed last week, and then Austin, as a CEO, ruined it and kind of took his thunder and goes on to make some crazy stipulations for the rest of the night. Talking about what match you're going to have with Steve at King of the Ring. He says, we'll try some matches out here to see what we want to have. So we're going to try out a dog pound match, and a David versus Goliath match, and a handicap match, a straitjacket match, and a blindfold match.
Dude, you figured it out earlier. You put together that plot with Austin getting power from Linda. Can you put this together for me? What is the rhyme or the reason as to who is allowed to make matches and why or when? Because I get Vince and Shane have half the power, and then Austin is the CEO, and apparently Stephanie has 25% power too. Like, who's
and also
in charge?
HBK.
And HBK is the commissioner. Yeah. Like, can you tell me who's in charge and who gets to make what matches and why? Because I can't figure it out.
Well, so I sat down to think about this too, and I got nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
I got nothing. Oh, I got nothing. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason as to who can make this and who can make what, and it's just. Well, I guess they're making this because Austin's at the Titan Towers. Is he at Titan Towers, or was that just earlier today? I don't know, but
yeah, I'll
you're
buy
right,
that.
man. There's no rhyme or reason as to who can make matches here. So, doesn't make sense. They had no constable. They needed a constable back then.
Don't ever say that again.
Edit that off.
Well, yeah, the guy that could have been a constable, Pat Patterson, comes out along with Gerald Briscoe.
Constable Patterson.
Shawn
Michaels.
Pat gives Vince the business, man, about putting Stephanie, who apparently is Pat's godchild, through such an ordeal. And so Vince McMahon makes the most random match I've ever heard in my life. Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe versus Vince McMahon and Viscera later in the night.
I mean, that has just got... I mean, 3 of those guys are over 50. And then Viscera is in
That's a real match.
A black trash bag.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. And so they talk about their handicap match with Austin at King of the Ring. And again, man, Taker has just disappeared into the background of this.
Yes. It's ridiculous.
We have no clue who he's facing. Again, we've got this feud with Austin going on. We got the feud with Big Show going on. We started a feud with Rock last week. We're gonna get a new feud starting up here soon. Like, it is just, man, poor guy.
Obviously, the Owen Hart tragedy wrecked a lot of plans, and that's completely forgivable and understandable.
Sure.
But it's ridiculous. 2 weeks from the pay-per-view, and the world champion we have no idea what's going on with him. But
nope.
Man, that's frustrating. But you know what was great was after this segment, we get a commercial with The Rock for Chef Boyardee with the song "Getting Chefy with It."
I totally forgot about this until it came on. I was watching it.
I lost my mind.
I'm losing my mind right now. Don't be a jabroni, eat your ravioli. It doesn't even rhyme. It's so bad.
The next time The Rock's on Jimmy Fallon or something, Jimmy Fallon needs to pull this commercial out and show it to The Rock. Yeah. It's that level of ridiculous.
It's so amazing. Getting Chefy with it. So good, man.
Maybe that's why Undertaker decided to give him a tombstone, because he saw that commercial.
Could be. So, yeah, man. Speaking of Rock, he comes out. He's over like nobody's business, man. Like, I just forgot how red hot he was. Like, he's like almost on par with Austin here, man. It is incredible to see 2 guys of that magnitude on the same roster at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're never going to get that again. So, but he tells Taker that last week he checked himself directly into the SmackDown hotel. If you want to impress The Rock, because his tattoos don't impress him, he says, come to King of the Ring and put your title on the line. And he's got more verbal jabs until Taker finally comes out to respond. So here we are, finally, 2 weeks before the show. We're building toward this, finally getting a match here. So Taker comes out and starts it off really good here.
Yeah, the gist of what Undertaker's saying here is he's the veteran, he's the man, and The Rock is this young buck, basically, if you will. He tells him, young man, sing a long time is over. And then Undertaker says something interesting that apparently...
What you fail to realize, boy, is I've crippled more people than polio.
It's a catchphrase that didn't quite catch on right there.
See that on a t-shirt?
Good Lord, man.
Yeah, I just wrote yikes. Yikes, man. Crippled more people than polio. Like, what did that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
It's not a thing that Rock's dad is like fighting with, or no one's mentioned polio. Like, FDR's not in the news. Like, I don't know what's the deal. It's just like, boy, I've crippled more people than polio. Okay. All right. So he tells him it's time to get under the learning tree, and at King of the Ring, I accept. So that's the gist of it. So
Yeah,
Man.
but Vince and Shane are out to stop all this madness. They're not going to let Undertaker and Rock make this match on their own. Vince asks why Rock is worthy of being number one contender, which is something I want to know too. Why he hasn't done anything to earn this match, although he is super over. Got to give him that. So sure. Vince says he's going to make a non-title match tonight between Rock and Undertaker, and Rock must win that to get the title shot at King of the Ring. And that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't think it bugs me when they do matches like that all the time nowadays, and I didn't realize they did it so much back then.
Well, and I'll say this too, man, as a follower of Russo's like brand, and I listen to a lot of his shows and stuff, he rips the current product all the time for doing crap like that, all the time. And like, dude, you wrote this crap right here. So, I will say again, I love the guy. He's great. He's hilarious. His shtick is what it is. You got to know what he's talking about. Don't take him too seriously. But yeah, he rips it all the time about how they have these non-title matches to qualify for a title match. But here it is, man. Like some lazy writing here. But
yeah, it is.
But there's going to be another stipulation added to this match, of course. 5 minutes prior to the match, there's going to be another stipulation. And, so.
Yeah, that's what Shane says as the promo is ending. And that stipulation we're going to find out is that the match between Undertaker and Rock is actually going to be a triple threat match with Undertaker, Rock, and Triple H in there. And here's the time, Travis. You've mentioned this with a couple of these triple threat matches where two guys are trying to get the belt off of Austin, but maybe they can't. You said, well, why don't they just pin each other? Why don't they just do something like that? And I guess the logic would be they have too much. They both of them want the title so bad they can't decide who's going to lay down. But this is the situation right here. Why wouldn't Triple H and Undertaker just lay down for each other immediately right here to stop Rock from getting the title shot? The title's not going to change hands here. Why not just do that? But instead, they just have a really long handicap brawl all around ringside, up on the stage, and all this stuff. This didn't make any sense to me.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out because, in fact, the episode of Something to Wrestle that drops today should have. Hopefully, he'll ask my question because I asked him that about the breakdown show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I asked on Facebook, so we'll see if they answer that. But yeah, this is the perfect time. You're right. Like all they had to do was throw Rock out of the ring, pin each other, and then Rock doesn't get a title shot. And then Hunter, they could have given one to Hunter or something. Who knows?
Right.
Like, could have, because that's where the storyline's headed anyways. like it would have been a lot easier. But so yeah, like you said, we got a good Attitude Era brawl outside, and basically the end of it is there's miscommunication because Chyna accidentally trips Taker. She thinks it's Rock, and she trips him. Taker grabs her by the throat, which is unsettling to see, and Hunter grabs him by the hair. Taker hits the apron stunner onto him, and which follows right into a Rock bottom, and Rock pins Triple H. As Taker can't come in and save the pinfall. So that's it. So Rock has won his chance to get a title shot at King of the Ring, and Taker and Triple H are going to brawl as the corporate ministry come out to break them up, as commentary continues to say that the corporate ministry is disintegrating. But again, so now we've got Taker feuding with Triple H, The Rock, The Big Show, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So.
Yes. And this all the storylines are just barreling straight ahead at 90 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Just had the corporate ministry at their height, and they are already falling apart here a week later. It's breakneck speed here. It's going to continue on Heat, 6/20/99, episode 47. This whole show is going to be building up, again, all this tension between the two leaders, really the two cornerstones of the corporation, Triple H and Undertaker. Triple H has a promo with JR saying he's focused on the title, and regardless of who's the champion at King of the Ring, he wants to face them. And no one's going to stop him, and no one alive or dead. A little threat there to his boy, The Undertaker.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Again, it's funny how that's 99, and we're going to see it again. We keep saying we're going to see it in October. I guess when this episode drops, it'll be
the next day,
next week. So, next week
or next week.
Yeah, next week. So anyway, we got Bear and the Emperor Taker arrive backstage, and we see them walking around later, and we're told that Vince and Shane are back home trying to mend things with Stephanie and Linda. So that makes a little bit of sense as to why the corporate ministry continues to disintegrate here, because their head honchos aren't here to hold things together. So Emperor Taker comes out for an in-ring interview with JR, and JR asks him, he says,
And I'm just wondering, sir, if you do indeed smell what The Rock is cooking.
this is great.
That was unprofessional, dude. You know, investigative journalist Michael Cole would never ask such a foolish question.
Never. So, and you got huge Rocky chants, man. The crowd is just loving him. Like I said, he's just super over. And Taker tells JR to watch his mouth, which I love. So he's like, watch your mouth, boy. So he tells him that these uneducated people have been mesmerized by this young man's wit. And the key word there is young man. So, which again, Rock is what, 27, 20, I think, at this age. So, says Rock can talk, but he hasn't had any scars, like he hasn't been through any wars like Taker has. So he tells him that he's young, you have talent, but that's where it stops. He said, boy, I'm taking you to the learning tree, and it stops when you look up to the eyes of death, and you will know my name is the Lord of Darkness. So still sprinkling in that Lord of Darkness stuff, but kind of getting away from it a little bit. It's not quite as ominous. I mean, he's got the Emperor cloak on, but I don't know, he's not putting over that Lord of Darkness stuff quite as much. He's getting a little bit less theatrical with his promo, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it, but
yeah, I definitely noticed that as well here, as JR also says he wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't ask Undertaker about the dissension between him and Triple H, and that you know, Undertaker's gonna pull like a Darth Vader here. He's gonna choke out JR for asking that question and wants him not to overstep his boundaries or disrespect the Lord of Darkness. So obviously, Undertaker's upset about this tension as well. We see Triple H in China watching this interview backstage, and Triple H seems pleased that he's in the Undertaker's head. And then it's all going to come to blows here at the main event of Heat after China beats Billy Gunn. 5-star classic right there. Undertaker comes out to attack Triple H, and they have a big brawl. And I do have to say, it gets the crowd into it, man. They're excited to see these two heels battle it out, and they get a big pop to see the dissension in the ranks of the corporate ministry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to see that, and when you care about the characters, which again, Hunter's been getting himself over here recently, been more vicious and, definitely in line for a push, you can tell. And he gets a Death Valley shot from Hunter. Taker does, excuse me. And Hunter goes low, blows him, and then the rest of the corporate ministry. But Cole says that, literally a quote from him, says, these are the two most important members of the corporate ministry. So what about Vince? What about Shane? Anyway.
What about Midian?
What about me? What about Raven? So
what about Pete Gas?
Yeah. Yeah, they came back last week, didn't they? So.
Yeah, one of these shows, they were supposed to be retired by Pat Patterson and Joe Briscoe, but they just show back up one of these weeks.
Yep.
No explanation. Okay, good Lord, let's
get to
the go home show. Yet, so. Yeah, Raw 317, June 21st, 99. Go home show for King of the Ring, and we're gonna pick right back up where we left off. Triple H in China. Triple H
a big feud going into King of the Ring. Triple H and
Triple H and Undertaker. Yeah.
Taker.
Oh wait. Triple H is in his gear. He calls out Undertaker for a fight, and man, Undertaker wastes no time responding. Nope. He heads out to the ring.
Yeah, he does, and the crowd pops for Triple H in China and for Taker. So it's kind of cool to sit there and get so. And separates them. Says this. No. This is what people want. This is what Austin wants. What Rock wants. So HBK then reappears, and somehow he makes matches for tonight. So he's making Taker versus Triple H tonight. So
yeah, this segment goes on and on and on. Stone Cold interrupts. Shawn actually comes out through the Brood's entrance on stage. The Stooges come out at one point. The gist of it for us on this podcast is Undertaker is going to defend the title against Triple H later on in the show. But then we go backstage for the highlight of this episode of Raw.
So we see this powwow backstage with the corporate ministry, and basically Midian tells Shane that he had a belt in his bag and he needs it. He asked him if he could borrow his belt since he lost his. And Shane's like, sure. So that's how Midian gets the European title.
That's it right there.
That's it.
A new strap for the corporate ministry. Although I guess it's staying within the corporate ministry, but
yeah.
Oh my God.
Remember when WCW threw the TV title in the trash and then Duggan found it in there?
Yeah, I don't know
everybody
which
crapped on
one
that.
happened first. We should research who did
Yeah.
this stupid storyline first.
Oh.
Titles don't matter, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
nope. Speaking of stupid, Boss Man gets beat up for being stupid because he failed earlier in the night. He was supposed to beat Austin, but he allowed Austin to beat him, so the corporate ministry beats him up backstage. So let that be known.
And that's going to play a part into King of the Ring as well. Boss Man getting sort of kicked out of the corporation. And later on this night of Raw, like you said, Rock takes on Edge in his tune-up match for King of the Ring, which is kind of a weird match to see at this stage in both guys' career. But Rock picks up the win pretty easily, but Undertaker delivers a tombstone to Rock after the match to kind of show him who's in charge.
Yeah. For some reason, I didn't even write that down, but yeah, it was a strange match to see. And like you said, yeah, Undertaker kind of puts a exclamation point there and shows him who's boss. And later on, we get Vince, and he's talking to Triple H, asking him, take it easy on Taker. Maybe don't even fight him, but Triple H does not oblige, and he goes on to fight him. And like I said, it's the main event of Raw here in 1999, and it's the main event SmackDown Under next week. So
the more things change,
the more they stay the same.
That's right. The Rock interferes to give Taker a rock bottom for the DQ, and the match isn't the story here. It's what happens after the match, as Rock signals up to the ceiling for something to be lowered, and it's not the Undertaker symbol. It is a Brahma Bull symbol, and it comes flying down. It's snorting out smoke, and man, I loved this. This was great.
Oh yeah, man! I remember watching it live at the time, and loving it. Thought it was so cool to see somebody give Taker a taste of his own medicine. Plus the Rock was super over him getting his own thing was cool, and Rock kind of guides it to the ring, and then he fights off the corporate ministry, and Boss Man comes out to help him basically fight off the corporate ministry. So that does play along in it, and then basically during all this melee, we get Paul Bearer stuck in the ring. It's happened to him the other week with Austin, too. He gets stuck in the ring, with Rock here, and Rock handcuffs him to the symbol. And Taker, as we saw when, Austin stunned Paul Bearer a few weeks ago, Taker just kind of saunters off the stage and retreats. So
he does, man. Poor Paul.
Yeah. Poor guy.
He doesn't get raised to the ceiling, though. I don't know if the...
thank God.
I don't know if the straps would have held on that long here.
Well, plus after the Owen thing, it's just too soon to do that,
That's a good point.
But I was just like, man, that thing would have plummeted to the ring with Paul Bearer on there.
The Rock cuts another promo on Undertaker here, says that King of the Ring, it's going to be the night of the Brahma Bull. He's going to take those horns, turn them sideways, and you can finish the rest.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, this is a fun little finish to their feud, but God, it's a little too late for me. Man, this has been a terribly disjointed and underwhelming build for this match, and we'll cut him some slack because obviously things had to change with the Owen Hart tragedy, interfering with all that sort of stuff, and obviously that's the least of those sort of problems. But it screws up a lot of this build-up and, puts it all out of whack. But at least this moment was cool. At least the go-home, the final thing you're going to see is a cool way to build it up. So
it is, and there's some neat stuff that happens here on Heat as well. We got Heat 48 on June 27th, 99. This is, of course, the live lead into King of the Ring, and man, I gotta say, they do a really good job of building this stuff to make the viewer want to see. Heat becomes a joke in a few years. It's just kind of a C-list show, D-list show later on, but at this point in 99, man, they're still putting effort and time into it, which is kind of cool. But of course, we got the corporate ministry, the C team, maybe even the D team coming out with Shane and Vince to open it up. And basically Vince says Taker and Hunter are on the same page. But there is friction to be expected out of a large corporation. But anyway, we see The Rock arrive, and I just thought it was funny, man, because he does not tip his valet. He goes to give him a tip, and he's kind of does that like I'm gonna smack you type hand, and the valet kind of shudders off, and he just walks in. It was just great, man.
Unbelievable.
It's funny to see.
What a cheapskate.
He's so good. Yeah, no. Yeah, nowadays it buys people cars all the time.
Biggest movie star in the world.
Yeah, literally, yeah. The most highest grossing, every year, it seems. So
he's
couldn't tip his valet.
Couldn't tip his valet, but he's got some words for the Undertaker here to close out the episode of Heat going into the pay-per-view.
Oh,
It's all about tattoos, man. Rock says he's not impressed by Undertaker's Mickey Mouse tattoos, which I don't understand that line, but okay.
Nope.
Yeah, but he's got a surprise for Undertaker. There's going to be 2 new tattoos on the Undertaker's butt cheeks tonight.
Which on your left cheek, it has a Brahma bull, and on the right, it reads this: tonight at King of the Ring, The Rock sacrificed me fast, for he laid the smackdown on my candy.
Yeah, you know the rest.
Yep.
So it's quite a tattoo on a butt cheek right there.
That's quite a tat, on your right butt cheek. So, yeah, man, and he's got the roof blows off, man, in Greensburg Coliseum when he walks out.
Everything he says.
It is insane. Yeah, they eat up all this stuff, and of course we can't have this go away because unnoticed. Taker notices and comes on Titantron and says, we're going to see if The Rock can cash those checks your mouth's been writing. And there's a Brahma Bull symbol hanging kind of in front of the Titantron at this point. And he says tonight is the night of the Undertaker, and tonight the Brahma Bull will rest in peace and burn in hell. And at that point, he uses his magical supernatural powers, and the Brahma Bull symbol suddenly goes up in flames, which is a pretty cool visual. But I just wrote, where the heck was this stuff the last 3 weeks?
Exactly.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
But at least they got it in before the pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he got him a few extra buys for King of the Ring 1999 from June 27th. 1999 in the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Dude.
Pretty weird.
Home of JCP, man, Jim Crockett and NWA and Starrcade and WCW. Is so weird to see them come down south and hit a big show like this where, honestly, man, crowd was hot, dude, throughout the night. I mean, I watched a little bit of stuff in between, not just this match, and the crowd was hot, man, for everything, which is just funny to see them, come down south and hit and have that. But I guess in '99, nothing could beat the WWF, man. They were on a freaking roll. So
yeah, no stopping them. Had you ever seen this show before?
I have, because I rented it from Video to Go to watch the Austin and McMahon's ladder match, because it's about the whole, raising up the thing, whatever. I don't remember this match, though, which goes to show you what storyline I was invested in at the time. I wasn't invested in Taker at this time, in 1999. I was invested in the Austin storyline. So I do remember, I'm sure I've seen this. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember specifically watching the main event, which was the Austin storyline, and the match before that would have been the finals of the King of the Ring. So this Undertaker match is the third from the top. So,
well, maybe you
weird.
had that video checked out, because I don't remember ever renting this one. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen the main event on an Austin DVD or something like that, or maybe one of the ladder match DVDs. But yeah, I definitely had never seen this whole show and hadn't seen hadn't seen the Undertaker and The Rock on here. So it's fun to go back and see a match from this era that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I don't think I watched anything but the main event. Seriously, because I remember not being excited about the King of the Ring anyway, because Billy Gunn freaking won. I was like, what a stupid idiot. I hated that guy. I could not say that. I hated that he won. It was just so dumb. I wasn't interested in that. I wasn't interested in this 2-week build Rock and Undertaker match. I was interested in, again, Austin and McMahon has been building for a year and a half, so I was always interested in what they had to go.
That's the main event here. Undertaker third from the top as the WWF champion.
So I do want you guys, before we get into this, finally, last thing is I want you to hold on to this little nugget for some future episodes we're going to hit here at Talking Taker. The Big Show possibly turns heel again against Kane. Kane he lost to Kane earlier in the night, and he cost Kane his King of the Ring semifinal match. So Big Show might be a heel again. You mentioned the other week that he's flip-flopped back and forth already several times, and he just debuted in February. So I think he's a heel again, and that'll come into play in Taker's storylines here in the near future. So.
Well, if that counts as a heel turn, he's going to have another turn before that on our next episode. Because, tune in next week, folks. The Big Show and Undertaker and Kane, again, are all getting involved with each other. And, God, it's a big friggin' mess. But Let's talk about this matchup. WWF Championship. Undertaker's only pay-per-view title defense of this title reign, his third title reign. Rock does cut a promo on the show, and other good stuff from The Rock here, as always. And we do get a video package recapping the 2 weeks of this feud, I guess, but it doesn't even show what happened on Raw. They don't show any of this stuff with the Brahma Bull symbol. This whole video package before the match is all about the tension between Triple H and The Undertaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardly even building up this match. It's, like we've said before on the show, I love when guys are involved in multiple feuds, and I think that's a cool thing to do, except maybe just limit it to maybe 2 feuds.
2 guys, yeah.
Not 4 different guys that you're all involved with at the same time.
Exactly. It's crazy, man. It's just too much going on. So we get, like I said, after that, we're ready to break down the match here. So we got Rock comes out first, and as he comes out, it's to me it was just hard to believe he's only 27. JR talks about all the prestigious gentlemen who have sold tickets here, and drops a lot of NWA and Jim Crockett names, like Ric Flair and stuff, and I think he dropped Steamboat's name too. But he says, of course, none of them have ever sold as many tickets as The Rock. So never 20,000, I think, or something like that. So anyway, little dig at WCW. Of course,
JR, he knows his history, man. He also brings up that last time Undertaker was in this arena was the Inferno match with Kane, and how Undertaker was the solid fan favorite back at that time, and says, how times have changed. So I appreciate that little nugget of history from JR. It's cool to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It was always like when he does stuff like that, so it's cool, especially as we go through all these matches. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember what arenas they're in, so it's pretty cool. But Taker comes out, like you said, he's got the title around his waist, which I appreciate when champion wears that.
Yes, always.
And a lot of what we talked about when we first started this podcast was how his character and his image would change and stuff. And we've mentioned several things. I just want to say here, he's got no coat, no cloak, no samurai hair, and no eyebrow ring. So
interesting.
He's taken the eyebrow ring out. Yeah, I looked closely. So not there. Not sure what's going on, but it's not there. So.
Maybe a slow evolution into the character that we're going to see coming here in a few short weeks. But
that's what I think.
Undertaker doesn't waste any time as this match starts, as he immediately knocks out the referee as he heads into the ring. Before the bell even rings, I believe. Just takes out the referee and beats him up for no reason. Really. Just knocks him out. It doesn't really work for him though, because Rock gets an immediate rock bottom on Undertaker. Yeah. But Undertaker tries to sit up from it, but Rock pins him, and
That's where the second ref slides in.
Kyoto comes in right here.
Yeah, and the second ref slides in, and Paul Bearer pulls him out as he hits goes down for the 3 count, and Paul Bearer nails him as well, and then he just mugs for the camera, man. He's just like, ew. And it's just weird to me. Like, I just wanted to note that King is like talking about how he wants Taker to win and stuff, which is just weird because he was like the most hated guy on the whole company a couple weeks ago, and now he's the heel commentators cheering for him. So I don't know, just weird to me.
Yeah. So. No continuity here on a lot of this stuff. Frustrating. But,
no.
I was wondering, they do all this gaga here at the beginning of the match. I was wondering if it was maybe because of Undertaker's injuries, man, because he's clearly favoring his ankle here as we go throughout the match. And we've noted that in the past few weeks, all the different, how he's been struggling to get through some of these matches. So I thought maybe that was part of what was going on here. But Undertaker fights through it. He does even manage to do a perfect 10 cell job for the clothesline of the outside, though, as these guys start to fight out into the entryway and all around the ring, into the barricade, and all that stuff that has become a signature of Undertaker's matches of late.
Yeah, they do lots of brawling outside. And again, I've got a nitpick here, man. So JR reminds us this is not a no DQ match. The ref's letting all this go. He's right next to him. But why? He attacked him he attacked the ref from the get-go. Why would he let all this stuff go? It's not a no DQ match. They haven't made it that. like, why would they not just made it a no DQ match? Because they're going to do lots of stuff on the outside. Like, just make that on heat to help sell a stipulation. It doesn't make any sense, like, to book it like this, where, it would make sense if it was no DQ. Then, Taker could attack him at the beginning and not have to worry about it. But he attacks him, doesn't get DQ'd. They do all this brawling outside. The ref doesn't count anything, doesn't care at all, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of stuff like that peeves me a little bit. So, but they brawl back
I agree.
and forth and take, well, it's just, like, you want to take it seriously, like it's like legit, like we know it's not, but it's presented that way, and so I don't know, I just don't like when they don't enforce, they pick and choose when to enforce rules. So,
well, it's frustrating because a lot of times they will go the extra mile and cover for things like that, so it's frustrating when they do drop the ball.
Yeah, because even here on the outside, Taker starts choking Rock on the outside, and the ref starts counting to 5. What? and so then JR and King are like, well, this may as well be a hardcore match or a no holds bar match. Yes. Why did you not just make it that? Like, so.
Well, the announcers also start asking, well, where's Paul Bearer while all this is happening? And JR gets out maybe the line of the night here saying,
where's Paul Bearer? Is there a buffet opening somewhere? That means a guest speaker.
Oh, guest speaker. Okay, I didn't hear what you said because I was laughing too hard when you said buffet open. Maybe he's a guest speaker. That is fantastic, man. That is classic. Oh man,
it's my favorite part of going to a buffet opening is getting to hear the keynote speaker.
Oh yes, absolutely. I've never been to one of those. I'm just saying. But so Taker gets a suplex on the concrete, which looks awful, and then he hits the head into the steps, which according to JR doesn't compare to any of that Carolina barbecue down here.
Oh no, man, I'm not. Carolina barbecue is not my favorite, to be honest.
Nope.
I don't like mustard-based sauce.
Nope. So, but JR's got he's a barbecue connoisseur.
And JR's sauce is pretty dang good. I will give him that.
I haven't had it. I have to have some. So.
Oh yeah, gotta have it.
So back in the ring now, we got the ref here. He's enforcing the rules. So, I just don't get it. He's doing all the ref, like the counts in the corner and all this stuff. I don't get it. But, we got an arm wrench and an old school attempt, but Taker gets crotched on top rope. Rock's done his homework, And then he goes and grabs a bottle of water and a callback to his WrestleMania match with Austin. He spits the water in Taker's face, which, man, I don't know. Like, you think he ran that spot over with Taker first? Because that's pretty gutsy to me.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Rock,
seriously.
He's a young guy, man. But
I know. Like, Jericho talks about how he got in trouble when he, called Taker an old man on, like, his second show ever. He, like, legit got in trouble backstage for that. Like, I wonder if Rock ran this by Taker.
I think The Rock was pretty untouchable at this point, too.
Yeah, probably so.
But, yeah, you couldn't do that if you were, Beaver Cleavage or somebody like that.
Val Venus, yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's funny to see, so.
So they take things outside again after this. Rock clotheslines Undertaker into the crowd. They fight
they love it, dude.
Yeah, they fight over to the hard camera area, which is kind of, we don't usually see that very often. Rock tosses a beer into Undertaker's face. Again, this is all really a lot of outside the ring stuff, covering, I think, for Undertaker's injuries, not being able to put on a traditional match. Maybe.
No 10 counts here. No ref 10
definitely
counts,
not.
by the way.
No. And there's chair shots. Rock goes for a chair shot, but Taker blocks it with the ring bell. And then Paul Bearer gets in a few solid loaded loafer shots as well.
Yeah, he does, man.
As JR calls him, the rotund buffet busting bully.
That's a t-shirt.
That's a t-shirt.
Oh, man. Yeah, but... Oh, yeah, the ref is distracted while he hits loaded loafer, and he cackles like a mad scientist. Why does the ref gotta be distracted?
Yeah,
exactly. So, man, and then Rock fights back. He's got a hope spot. He hits Taker with what they call a scintillating DDT. So I think that may have been the word of the day calendar that day. Scintillating. He stops, Taker hits that scintillating DDT to stop the comeback, and it's a 2 count. Gets a sleeper hold on Rock for a breather, I guess. And then at this point, man, I just noted the most beautiful sign in the ring that I've seen in 59 episodes of Talking Taker. I haven't seen anything more beautiful than this. It says Paul Bearer for president. And it's got like a partial American flag drawn on it. And I can't agree any more than that, you know. As we come up on our primaries. Yeah, got my vote. So yeah, man.
Jesse Ventura
completely unprovoked.
Then why not Paul Bearer?
That's true, man. But it's like completely unprovoked, nothing in storyline, nothing kayfabe about it. It's just Paul Bearer for president. I just love it.
He's got practice giving all those speeches at buffet openings. He'd do great in the debate.
It's true. He's a man of the people.
Anyway,
and then at this point, the crowd's going, "Let's go, Rocky!" And King's like, "Where do they want him to go?" I love that. King, we're so good.
Well, Rock, he's able to go fight back up here. They seem to have a little miscommunication here. I don't know what happened. They kind of run into each other, running the ropes, and have to talk to each other. But it ends with Rock ending up getting a Samoan drop for 2. They get a double drop down off the clothesline. Both guys go down to the mat, and Paul Bear's on the outside trying to motivate the Undertaker. And I'm just sitting there thinking, what he really needs is the urn, dude. We haven't seen the urn in years. That's what he needs to get Undertaker back on his feet.
That'd have been sick, dude, if he had pulled it out.
Oh, yeah, pulled out of his jacket.
Great. So, he's talking. So he's got some motivational speaking going on over there. And Rock comes up with some right hands, beating Taker down in the corner. Taker reverses, tries to hit a tombstone, which is then reversed into a DDT by The Rock, which I just had to know. It reminds me of all our matches we had. That was our signature spot, was DDTs all over. Dude, it was the easiest thing, the safest thing to do in a living room. We're not going to suplex each other in the living room or German suplex, but DDT is a safe bump to take on each other. So.
We hit DDTs like the Young Bucks hit super kicks, man.
DDT party.
All over the place. We hit a lot of super kicks too, though, to be fair.
Oh yeah. So at this point in the match, we got another ref bump, which was technically on accident by The Rock, but he basically puts his arm out and chokes and clotheslines him, which is strange.
You could see this spot coming a mile away as Rock goes into Kyoto. Rock gets a people's elbow while Kyoto is down, and then Undertaker gets a Death Valley blow, and it's time for the old ether rag.
This is the second pay-per-view in a row we've got the ether rag? Or third?
Signature spot,
he skipped one. Yeah, it is, man. It's come back from the bowels of his history. Got the ether rag now. So, of course, immediately, who smells it?
JR and King.
JR and King. Yeah. Immediately. They got the nose of a freaking Mako shark. I don't get it, man. So, Rock reverses an attempt on the ether rag and uses it on the Undertaker. So, give him taste of his own medicine.
Taste of his own ether. And then it really starts to get overbooked here towards the end.
Yep.
We've had ref bumps and ether rags, and now we're going to get interference from Triple H as he comes out to save Undertaker and hits a pedigree on The Rock. And both guys are going to be out as the ref finally wakes up. And the ref starts counting, and Taker stands up at 9.
And the ref stops counting. You're supposed to keep counting, and then Taker wins. If you can't answer the 10 count.
I don't think that's true, though.
I think so. That's got to be.
If both guys are down and one guy gets up, usually the ref will start. I think the ref usually stops counting.
Well, King on commentary says The Rock's not up, you should count him out. He says that.
I don't know if I've ever actually seen that, though. Like, if they're both out on the ground. I know
it's not last man standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But King did complain about it too. But I was thinking, I don't remember that usually being the case. But I don't know.
I think that's the rule. I think that's why last man standing. That's the only way you can win is by that. So I think it's a rule. We'll see. You guys let us know what you think.
Yeah. Hit us
Agree
up.
Disagree.
Yep. Well, Taker kind of falls back with a hand on The Rock. Just a really lazy cover as he's out of it, but it only gets a 2 count here as we hit the finish.
Yeah, both men get up, and Taker nails a tombstone and gets the classic cover and gets the pinfall win at 19 minutes and 14 seconds, which a little bit strange because you thought that 2 count, that a near fall right before him would have been it. It just kind of goes from this big near fall to all of a sudden it's just clean tombstone over.
Just over, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but commentary sell, though, that The Rock was still reeling from that pedigree from Hunter. So that makes sense. And they say that, The Rock would have won 3 different times. If it weren't for Triple H, he'd be champ. And, man, I just got to say that Taker does a great sell job of selling that ether. Like, he's coughing and looks like he's been through the ringer, and he's selling it real good. Yeah. As opposed to that chokeslam through the ring. This is the opposite of that.
Just strange. And maybe, I think he probably has a little bit more respect and a better relationship with The Rock here than he did at the Big Show at that time. I don't know. A little speculation there on our part, because that's all we're doing. We're just fans covering this. And I was kind of a fan of this match. I've been kind of down on his Taker's matches the past few months. I thought, especially considering all the injuries that Taker had, thought they did a good job of covering for it and made it into an entertaining match for one I hadn't seen before. Not a classic, not one I need to go revisit, over and over again by any means, but not bad for what it was. If you're gonna go back and watch it, you could do worse, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the crowd made it fun too, because they just bit on everything, and they were invested the whole time. And I think these guys have good chemistry. They have better chemistry than Austin and Taker do. I don't know why that is, but maybe just because Rock his character allows him to sell a little more maybe than Austin's does. So I don't know, but they got good chemistry. Like I said, the crowd was invested the entire time. So yeah, it was fun. I recommend it, but again, if you don't miss it, you're not missing anything super. But you wouldn't be sad if you watched it.
Yeah. Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin was certainly sad later on this night. Just to put a bow on everything we said with him and McMahon, as he ends up losing his match with Vince McMahon. That's going to be turned into a ladder match. I don't think we mentioned that it's for complete control of the World Wrestling Federation. So Austin's going to lose all of his power as the CEO to the McMahons, as he's going for the briefcase with the contracts in there, and it mysteriously rises up to the ceiling, and we'll find out all about why that happened, how that happened, what the consequences are going to be for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and how it's all going to lead to our next pay-per-view match, which is Fully Loaded 1999, Stone Cold versus The Undertaker. And again, timely, an end of an era match, as we're about to get the last ever match, guaranteed promise this time, between Undertaker and Triple H, coming up here at the Super SmackDown Under show.
But then they'll be in a tag match the next week at Saudi Arabia or whatever.
We're not supposed to talk about that yet.
Probably.
Anyway,
final time ever next week.
That's next week on Talking Taker. And this week, though, we want to hear all your comments, all your feedback about this match, about the greater power, about the rules for a count out in a match, about all this sort of stuff that we talked about here. And you can always let us know all that on Talking Taker, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, and YouTube. If you don't mind, let us know what you think of the podcast. Share it with your friends and fellow wrestling fans. Leave us a rating or a comment. Subscribe to the show so you get it downloaded straight to your inbox every Thursday night or Friday morning. Whenever it does go up, you'll get it first if you are a subscriber, and we'll post it to all the social media as well. We would love to interact with you and hear from you and all that good stuff. And if you really want to support the show, go pick up a Talking Taker t-shirt on tpublic.com. Just search Talking Taker Podcast or Taker Easy and get a cool t-shirt. Maybe we'll get some new ones up there eventually. We got some ideas.
We'll have some new designs. Yes, we have some, and we have my wife's working on some, so we'll have some new designs up there soon. So, well, yeah, guys, this was not supposed to be this long, but there's a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack with the higher power, or the greater power, whatever you want to call them. So, next week should be a little bit shorter, fully loaded. It's not that loaded, the build-up and the match. So, anyway, thanks for bearing with us and sticking with us this whole way. And, if you were there at the Greensboro Coliseum, please let us know. Let us know how this compared to some old Jim Crockett shows or NWA shows you ever went through there. Those Steamboat and Flair classics, Anyway, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I got 2 words for you. Take her easy.
Shut it. Shut it. chef, you with the rock, he's hot. Got the best of everything to make a good time rock. Got a real fine rock.